Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to Stationeers. So, let's get going. Here is what I have for today. So, the idea is to try to get as much of the sort of internal required finishing touches done. There is some other things I want to do. But yeah, get the base ready basically for pressurization. Is the long and short of it. So let's go ahead and start to put some flooring and that kind of stuff into the base here. Now, some of the other things I'd like to do, let me flick this on, is a little bit of atmospheric controls. Right now, as it is, we have all of our atmospherics set up to sort of just how shall we put it? Be fully automated from however we end up designing it. The thing I have in mind is I'd also want some overrides. I would want some emergency settings where we could flood or vacuum, and I'd like that to be on every floor as well. A big ask, and it's not going to happen instantly or even quickly. But the reason for that is if we have a fire or some other sort of emergency like that, a flood or vacuum setting would be quite useful. Alright, so one thing I'm going to do is to plop in some flooring. It's pretty easy stuff to do. I have sort of set up a design for other floors, so all I got to do is replicate it. We're also going to want ceilings on the floors below, aren't we? So, some flat. And then, there was some design ideas that you all threw out, so I'm going to try to replicate that. So one of the design ideas that you all shared was that the pattern should continue from floor to ceiling, and if that doesn't make any sense to you, I will demonstrate, I think, what they meant, because I fully support that sort of design idea. So what do we need? We need the geometrics. Do I really not have a lot of what is this? Regulars or... Yeah, those are regulars. I might be really, really low on geometric walls. That is actually somewhat of a surprise. I guess I've been using them a lot. Maybe I misplaced them. Let me just double check. Padded, arched. Obviously frames. I don't see any geometric there. Yeah, alright, let's go ahead and make geometric, and then if we end up finding some more, I can... Ouch. That was loud.
Temperature low. Temperature critical.
Oh, shush. I'm fine. Hey, look at that. That looks a bit different. Medical pill. Alright. Yes, there's been a significant update since last episode. You could go reading the full patch list or whatever, patch notes, if you want. The long and short of it, I kind of glanced at it, so I might be missing some big picture stuff. But at least what I primarily read was one of the major things they did was they added destroyed states, meaning what does these benches look like when they're destroyed? Because previously they would just kind of poof and not be existing. And destroy states allows you to show, what a destroyed version of it might look like. Ouch, that was a big crash. I usually just fling myself and it tends to be fine, but obviously that time I went big old crunch. If you're wondering, and I have gotten some comments about this, about the health bars of the suits, yes, that is the total health bar, but as long as you duct tape it up, it seals, and it's fine. Once it gets sort of into the red, you might want to replace it because the next collision might destroy it. Now, I'm also wearing a hard suit, and hard suits are a little bit more hardy than the standard EVA suits. So if you have a standard EVA suit and it takes damage, I don't know, once or twice, you might want to replace it, whereas the hard suit can take maybe twice the licks. I actually don't know the durability of these things. They don't really say what durability is, but yeah, I would say about twice the hit points or so. And that time I hit my head a little bit harder than the suit, I think. But that's alright. I've got a hard head. I just need to make sure not to slam into things, as I tend to like to do. Alright, so the design idea was this. Let me just go ahead and grab my crowbar, remove the flat walls. These geometric straights on the side probably can change as well. And then we're going to need... You can hear that humming. That humming is going to be a very common noise in this base. If it drives you batty, there are some things you can do. You can isolate batteries and other things that make noise, but honestly, I would say just get used to the humming. That's what all the NASA astronauts did. So, you know, be a NASA astronaut and don't get bothered by the humming. Let's go ahead and, you know, turn on the lights for this floor. So that kind of would make a lot of sense. All right, flat walls on the side here. Now, a lot of people have also said, oh, you should, you know, have this be windows because you'll be able to see the batteries. Yes, well, these batteries will pretty much always be full, because I have the backup tower back there on the power grid. Alright, so this was the idea, continuing the pattern to the ceiling like that. And I rather like that. It might not look great with these LEDs sort of cutting in, but whatever. I like that idea, so we'll stick with that. That does mean that this will be geometric straight like this. Voila. And then these are flat walls. Okay, I need to... Oof, I am running out of inventory space, aren't I? Might be a little too gloomy here, actually. I think it's fine. It could be brightened up a bit here, but you all know the amount of effort it takes to add in some lights. And the problem is, I guess I could move this angled light up a bit. Maybe that's what I'll do. Another thing I thought I was doing, and apparently that's not the case. Let me combine these cables, free up some space. There. Sometimes it's just easier to hold left alt and drag. I try not to do that because that used to actually not even be a thing, but, or not, I mean, not that I try not to do that, but I often forget. Alright, so I was gonna leave all of the glass in these deconstructed so I can easily switch floors. So yeah, actually we might want to move... Oh, I see the issue. We'd have to rewire some stuff. But I think that might be the wise choice here. So I'm gonna acknowledge that I'm getting a little sidetracked and move this light that's right by the elevator, because it's not casting enough light into the room, and the room looks a little gloomy and not actually well illuminated. And that would be bad for a lounge, unless you want mood lighting. I mean, hey, if you want mood lighting, you can have as much mood lighting as you want. I just feel like I could definitely fix this up a bit. And because there's a great big hole in the middle of the room, I am using my my jetpack here. Alright, and we will have a window up top. Obviously. I'm just not going to put glass in it yet. Speaking of glass, I can ditch this stack. Alright. So, what do I need to do? I need to grab my smelter, my, not smelter, my arc welder, and move some stuff around. So the sensor here, all it really needs to do is rotate. So floor 2 gas sensor is what it was called. So it's just going to rotate a little bit. Floor 2 gas sensor. And because I don't have any logic hooked up to these things, it's really not that much of a problem. And then this light here will get moved. Before I move that, of course, I need to snip some cables, because these are in the way, and that's why I rotated the gas sensor. So I'll have it just be a wall light long, and then where's my flat wall? Here's my flat wall. So it'll look like this. Yep. I think that will work. So this cable here is going to have to come down. Also, that orange cable is going to have to move. So this will be a junction now, because it needs to connect up with wherever it left off. It left off inside of a frame or something, so I'm going to have to figure out where that is. But let me first just get rid of here. There we go. Now we can see where it connects up to. Put these frames away. And I might need to make more of these cables blue. So I'm making this run a little bit longer. So the gas sensor, and then this must need connecting to. So before I do that, let me just make my cables blue so I have enough. And then let's recolor all of these orange for the light. And actually, that's not where we're going to connect the light anymore. Because it'll need to be like this. I sometimes forget to turn off my jetpack. I get so accustomed to the noise. Oh. Alright. Whoa! That was a good jump. That wasn't even a jetpack jump. Alright. Now, let's take a look around. Yes, a lot brighter. Significant difference. Does not look gloomy, does not look sad. And let's make sure the lights work properly. I mean, they should, because it's really just the APC. It's basically all the lights, or all the things that should be powered up and on, are controlled from the APC. So if the APC has power, we're good. And if it doesn't, it turns off. Alright, so this floor is basically done. Yes, acknowledging that my my back walls here are not placed, but I'm not doing that at this moment anyway. Alright, let's shove all of the frames and sheets back in. What is this a stack of? Flat walls, okay. So, yeah, I kind of like the pattern that we've been going with. I think it looks clean, at the very least. Which means that these will become flat walls. And this is geometric straights, and I'm going to need to pick up some more geometric straights from my my fabricator. And then, as you can see, whether you like it or not, most of the hydroponic basins are inset into the floor here. The reason I'm doing that is they could float. If you want them to float, I could always change them, but I think it looks fine. I'll think it over. Maybe it doesn't look fine. I don't know. Composite window. Then we'll get plastics. And for now, I think we're just leaving it visible so that you can see all the guts underneath. That was sort of the conclusion that we came to. So let me get more geometrics. I really wish these had different icons, so they didn't all look the same. But, you know, baby steps for this game. It's still in development. It's actually developing really, really fast. Surprisingly so. Alright, then the steel. And let's take a look around. See how well illuminated this is. Now, of course, this is the hydroponic room, so it does get a lot of sunlight, but some of this we're going to have to check again to see how illuminated it is come nighttime, because it has a lot of natural sunlight. Natural Martian sunlight, granted, so it's not the brightest. I'm sort of feeling like these should be elevated basins now. I don't know. I realize that I'm arguing with myself here, but that's a feeling I have. And then, additionally, all of the elevator shafts that are not, that are within the crawl spaces here are going to need to be walled off as well. And I'll get that done now, because I'm talking about it. Might as well do it. Otherwise, you know, these crawl spaces will become pressurized and will need just almost twice as much pressure for the entire base, which makes very little sense. So those are already windowed up and all. Perfect. And that way, when we're transferring between floors, we'll also be able to just see, you know, see the crawl spaces and see all the work that we've done. I don't like, you know, I kind of like to display the work. Oop, that window is incorrectly placed. Because if you hide it all, you know, you sort of don't appreciate the complexity of a system if it's all hidden.
Hunger caution.
I'm getting a little bit of a hunger caution. And it does not need to be glassed up here. In fact, I have glass there, and I don't know why. That could be totally open. I'm going to want walls up above it, though, in these spots. I might end up adding some more stuff there, but for now, we'll wall that up. Come on. I hate this pipe. That pipe's the worst. That khaki pipe. I somehow always... Oh, that's not even the right... Okay, now I know why I can't even glass it up. No, I don't want to deconstruct my elevator shaft. Alright, and the back of the elevators are naturally airtight, whereas the, you know, obviously the open cage sides are not. That's probably pretty self-explanatory, as that's exactly how it looks. So if we were to take a elevator ride, let's take it from the bottom floor and see how this looks. Alright, we'll go down. These, of course, are glassed up, and this is what we'll see. This opens to... Eventually, it will be a working airlock. Right now, of course, it is a turned-off airlock just for convenience, because I didn't want to have to go through an airlock every time. And here's the Atmo floor. Briefly, the lights turn on when I'm stopped there. Same will be true of the workshop floor, and then we're on the top floor. I do like it. I like it a lot. Alright, I am hungry for, I don't know, potatoes. What is flashing here? This, yep, this CO2 filter is dead. it's empty, it's used up. Let's make a new one. I'm sort of tired of having to constantly make them, so... Filter. Carbon dioxide. Let's do carbon dioxide. Steel, electrum, and copper. So where's my electrum? Here it is. This is a filter that will just not need to be replaced often. My steel is in here, and my copper is in here. Yes, when you're wealthy, it might be helpful to have so many stacks of ingots that you don't need to constantly have to move ingredients from one bench to another. Realistically, you're probably going to end up doing... No, I want that closed. Going like this, where you're, having to move your ingots and materials around. Here, I wanted to crank out some glass, and I do believe that it's near the bottom. Please let me drag. There we go. Glass sheets. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to need, but I'll make 30, which is just about every last ounce of silicon I have. Alright, heavy filter. They will last an insanely long time. Just going to put this stuff back in there. Make sure to only make one. I'm hungry, so let's get some baked potatoes going, and then the rest of the potatoes and the soy I'm going to put away. So we, again, have 2 stacks of potatoes, almost 2 stacks of soy. I could probably cycle the airlock here. And cycle the plants while I eat. %0 of potatoes left. They really shouldn't round down. I think I have my network analyzer in here. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to analyze the atmosphere in here. I have no idea what percentage of whatever is in here, but we're here to cycle the plants, and let's hope that there's a reasonable amount of CO2 to oxygen. I mean, if it was serious, we would see that the plants were wilting, and they're not, so... but it is one of these things that you should monitor often, especially if you're new to the game. It's very, very easy to get the chemistry of your hydroponics off by a little, and, then you will find yourself in a starving situation pretty rapidly. Also have to resist hitting J for my jetpack because it would introduce nitrogen gas, which I'm not currently filtering for. All right, so here's our CO2 filter.
Jetpack on.
Let's go ahead and put the soybeans. Oh, soybeans stack higher than potatoes. We have a lot of potatoes now. And we are getting some glass sheets. The CO2 filter, let's go install that. The pressures on the tanks look healthy, meaning that we're not going to have a failed farm scenario anytime soon. And the Atmo analyzer that I had, let's go switch that back in. I could check on the farm, but I'm going to take it on good faith that it's doing all right. So taking a look at this big bad boy base. What else are we going to want here? We're going to want some walls up there, I think. Of what type, I am not sure. Probably not geometric, though. Maybe just flat. Keep it simple. Or just regular wall. we could do regular walls. Alright, and then if I need to use that space, I can. Inside here, guess I can run around making sure that I have glass in all of the top windows. Yeah, some of them are missing, as you can see. Actually, probably a lot of them. Double painting, I don't know if it actually provides any more benefit than tinting over single paned. I don't think it allows you a higher pressure, because a pane is a pane is a pane. I think is what this game figures. It's like the amount of pressure it takes to blow out one pane is the same to blow out two. And that's somewhat true in real life too, I suppose. Just because it's double pane doesn't mean it's going to be more pressure resistant. It's the same materials. But it looks like all of these windows are needing the double pane treatment. They all should have panes on the outside though, so... I did get a tip about maybe doing a pressure test. And that's probably a pretty good idea. So what I might end up doing is just pumping some CO2 into this base here and seeing if seeing if it holds pressure or it leaks. Because if it leaks, obviously I have some sort of error somewhere. Obviously not by pure pressure, but I kind of feel like these should float a little bit. It is a little weird that the basins are under the floor, I guess. And I'll fix that before we turn everything on. So what I need is some blue pipes, or just pipes. I can paint them blue. No, we still have blue pipes. Go. Let's get the wrench. And this is why it's important to do projects like this before... Oh, not this pipe. Before, of course, you set up the base to be, to really have started, because it's a lot more challenging to do. Like, these little, oh, what if I just move these a teeny bit kind of projects take a lot more effort when you have very little access to be able to move around smoothly, like I'm doing right now. Alright, so straight up there. Oh, wow, I walled that off already. Okay. I don't know why I have the inside window ports here. I probably should get rid of those. So it's going to look something like this. And water does, of course, carry through the basins themselves. Maybe, well, alright. So what I'm going to do is, for aesthetic purposes, at the end of this run, I'm going to have a pipe go back down. But obviously, we're going to know it doesn't lead anywhere. And this is also one of those things, if the amount of plants that I have in here, because I haven't actually run the calculations of, like, how much oxygen is this farm going to, make, it's possible that we'll actually have to do a scrubber. It might be that we actually need an oxygen scrubber running to take some excess oxygen out of this room. I don't know. I haven't done those calculations. But if the room isn't totally overwhelmed by the amount of oxygen and heat I'm generating, it's also possible that we could just add some more plants in. I mean, obviously, this room has a lot more room. It's not full yet. All right, so now it looks like it goes down. And actually, I'm going to change the way these pipes are laid out as well. Adding in some additional basins now that everything is above level. what I'll do is just have a corner here, and then we could just run it a lot more natural looking than it was previous. And with less piping. So I need 2 more basins. Yep, I'm just making sure that they were correct over there, and they are. Alright, another thing I wanted to do, because it doesn't really make sense to... Let me put these pipes away. It doesn't really make sense to have windows on the inside here, is removing these windows, because it actually kind of ruins the industrial look, in my opinion. It's also entirely plausible that we'll just have a window down there too. Might as well, right? Because that will allow us to see into the construction basement or whatever, and that should be pretty cool. So those are my geometrics. These should be the traditional wall. There we go. So window, plastic, and I'm not going to put the glass in yet. But now you can see straight through to the roof. And then we'll reclaim all of these window pieces that I no longer need. Nice. I like it. What else do I need to do? I have a rather long laundry list of little projects. Not all that serious, but sort of must-haves before I fully wall up the base. So we need the 2 hydroponic basins that I'm now requiring. Which means switching... Let's put the solder back, because it's rare that we even use solder. Putting the iron in there. We have some glass sheets that we can store. Ooh, I had a lot of glass sheets I just didn't account for. I have a big pile of stuff, and because it all looks kind of the same, it's really hard to tell what I have and what I don't. Plastic sheets, arched walls. Unfortunately, we weren't really able to use a lot of those arched walls. Same with the padded walls. I think the padded walls, personally, I think they're kind of ugly. Regular walls. I'm just organizing this so that I don't keep making duplicates. Geometrics. And I have a ton of frames I no longer need, which I could just recycle back into steel. All of the internals of my tower used to be sort of steel frames between the floors, and obviously that has been changed. All right, 2 hydro trays.
Jetpack on.
Alright. Another thing I could do is, if I wanted more plants, I could have a smaller U shape on the inside here, where I'm currently walking. And that way I can have access to all the trays. But I think that's probably something I would consider adding in the future. I don't need to do it right now. So other little things. I'm trying to think of other little things I'm going to need in this base before I start to work out the the pressurization logic. Brainstorming about that, I would say sort of a fire switch that vacuums out the entire base in the case of a fire would be pretty necessary. And then additionally, I should say, not alternatively, is potentially a unpowered airlock that I could operate via crowbar. Oh, look, these are definitely looking a bit different. That looks cool. Yeah, there's a whole lot of like little model overhauls that got done. This lounge here I could set up a little bit nicer too. Oh, they need windows that on the outside. Let me check down here. No, they have it down here. So yeah, I need to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows. And I think for now what I'll do is I'll leave these not constructed and open because it allows me to traverse a little bit easier. And then eventually we'll obviously wall those up. I mean, we can't have exposed crawl space. Alright, so let's get what we need for windows. Oh, even the solar power panels are not, they're not square. Wow, there's not, they even look better. With the rotates, wow. There's been a lot of overhaul here that I haven't fully appreciated. I'm definitely going to need to go through the patch notes more carefully and for a full primer on what they've done. But a lot of model changes, and I like it. Everything they've done so far, big thumbs up from me. That I've seen so far. Alright. So, we wanted 3 composite windows. Also, I think the cryo right there is just not in a good spot. So I'll have to move that around. I gotta say, if it wasn't for the Martian landscape that's clearly Martian and not Earth-like, this sort of seems like, let me call the lights. It sort of seems to me like an office building that you'd just find in, like, Minecraft or something, I don't know. It does not look so alien to me. Which is kind of cool. We have a taste of home. Alright. There we go. So, I would say we would want a... maybe a kill switch for all of the atmospheric logic. Maybe on even each floor. And the purpose of that would be if we had, let's say, some sort of emergency. I'm just trying to brainstorm this now. So let's say we had an emergency and a canister burst and it leaked out a lot of extra atmosphere into the base. We would want a vacuum switch to be able to pull up or to start to pull out all of the gas in our base because we don't have an infinite amount of gas, right? We have to treat the oxygen, nitrogen that we have in here as precious. So we would want a switch to be able to do that, to vacuum it out. And then we'd also want a kill switch for the atmospherics. So if I needed to turn off the atmospherics for some reason, we could. And I think those are the 2 that I need most, maybe? But if you have other ideas along that vein, all you got to do is let me know. What other little things that you think I'm going to need. Because next episode, I might try to work out the true and honest, pressurization. I've been prepping everything for so long that at this point, we're ready for pressurization, the pressurization phase, and I'm just about ready to pull the trigger on that. So, yes, if you have feedback for me about little things you think this base is missing, other than a sort of a panic switch on each floor for making sure that we can vacuum out things, let me know. Because next episode, unless I get feedback from all of you about things that that you think I need other than that panic switch, and that panic switch can take me might actually take me a bit of time. But Other than that panic switch, yeah, I would start to work on the pressurization logic. So, I guess that is the end of this episode. This beautiful episode with all this wonderful new content patched into Stationeers. Thank you all for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting the series. Thanks for all your helpful feedback and tips. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and maybe I'll hear from you about little things that you think I need before I start to pressurize. Adios, everybody.